Welcome to our next tutorial of QuickSurface. As you now know how to import meshes, it's time to start creating our reverse engineering. And I will bring our demonstration simple part, which you can download from our tutorial page. Before we begin, it's always good to place the object into the correct position in space. What the space means is that if I just use the standard views, you can easily extract sketches, define your extruded surfaces and so on. But what we see here, that in many cases, some of the software will generate meshes from the scanner in just arbitrary position in space. So we need to align these, as we call it in QuickSurface, into space. But in order to do this, for example, I may want this to be from my top view. Probably I want my z-axis to go through the center of this cylinder and my x-axis to be along this edge which I see on the screen. There are methods that you learn how to align, but doing this manually is not accurate enough and it's not good for the actual reverse engineering, as you will get a lot of errors. So as you heard from me, I mentioned plane, this bottom side, and this one, and the cylinder. So for this reason, we have something which is called extract primitives. It's located on our main toolbar, and in order to start extracting your primitives, you just load your mesh and select the extract primitives. So as we learn how to do the selection now, we are ready to start and extract our primitives. What I want to do now is just to get this and mark the triangles at the bottom, and then I will tell the software that this is actually my plane. So how can I do this? I will just use the magic wand and just click somewhere on this plane. Now as you can see, the plane has been selected and I'm ready to go. From the second part of the dialog, you have these four options that you need to tell the software what type of primitive this is. And you can do this explicitly because sometimes, even if it's rounded, you may want to define it as a plane or vice versa and so on. In this case, definitely this is a plane. I press and I see a preview of my plane. So how this works, the software makes what it's called a best fit through all the selected triangles. So that's why it's important when you do your selection to make sure that you select areas that belong only to this specific plane. When you are happy, you can just press create. What happens that the plane becomes available in the scene, and this can be used later for two main purposes. One is to align the objects in space, or also you can use this in trim operations and define your surfaces. As I have this plane now available, I can just hide it from my scene and I can carry on. Now I'll just pick this and we'll tell the software and make this cylinder. When you do this selection and you extract your primitives, because it's all about accuracy, you may pick some of the areas that are not belonging to this cylinder. It's always good to actually analyze the quality and how good this cylinder is. So I can just press the analysis button and you can see that it gives you a color deviation map of the quality of your fit cylinder. How you can interpret this? Well, this part probably is not being manufactured really well, and it's possible that there are some noise or some deformations, but the software did its best to fit this cylinder through the selected points. We will go a bit more in advanced thinking, and you can come later to this tutorial and to understand what it's called constraints. If I look at the plane, which is at the bottom, in reality, because it's a best fit, this cylinder goes really well through the points, but it's probably not perpendicular to my plane. The reason for this is that we use the noisy data coming from the scanner, and this is not the perfect data. Even if you get the best accurate scanner, you can never get this cylinder absolutely perpendicular to my plane. So for this reason, I can just use our constraint, and I will tell the software that I want this cylinder to fit really well, but I want this to be absolutely perpendicular to my reference plane which I select. Of course, if the object is aligned, when you do this best fit, you can choose to be parallel to one of the axes, and so on. Now I'm happy with this cylinder, and I will press create. Now, as you can see, the cylinder has been created. Let's move further and hide this cylinder, and I will pick with the selection tool. As you can see now, it's a lot of much noisier, so I can play with the slider here. And what I want to do is create another cylinder. As you can see, my cylinder has been extracted, and again the same logic. This does the best fit through the selected points, but because of the design intent, obviously these two cylinders are coincident, what means that their axes are on the same position. So what I need to do now is I will need to go and tell the software two things. One is I want to tell the software that this cylinder should do its best and fit through the points, but in such a way that the two axes of the two cylinders are parallel. But in this example, this is not enough. I want even more. I want them to be coincident. And now the software did its best to fit through these points, but it compromised with the quality of the approximation, how close it is. And as you can see now, we are not as close as we want to the scan point, but we are absolutely sure that the two cylinders share the same common axis. This is really important when you want to do a really accurate surfaces. And when you're happy with this, you press create. So this analysis tool and constraints will provide you extremely powerful features to actually generate what you need for your correct reverse engineering. And the last thing I will do probably in this case is just to pick this front plane, and then I generate it as it is here. When I'm happy with this, I can always just analyze and see the result. And I see that it is within 50 microns, which is quite well. In the same way, you can do the best fit of the cone and sphere. There are no such primitives here. They work absolutely in the same way. I'll just create these, and we'll probably select some of the areas here, like this one, and just for the exercise, we'll just try to fit the cone, which actually failed because this is not an actual cone that can be fitted. So I will load in a minute another example that we have a cone, and we can demonstrate this feature as well. In order to extract the primitives, we need to tell the software which area we actually need to define as a plane, for example. At the bottom, this area is definitely a plane from the object, and this is the cylinder. So there are several selection tools that will help us to do this. The first and the most used one is called Magic Wand, which is actually curvature-based selection. In order to start, you select this button, and then you click on the area of the mesh. This selection method works based on the angle between the connected triangles, and it stops where the curvature changes here, if it's a fillet or a chamfer. And in this way you can just identify the areas that you will need to define your cylinder in this case. It's not the perfect tool because sometimes you get noise on the scan data, and for this reason we have a slider which changes the sensitivity of our curvature-based filter. You can play with this until you get a satisfactory result. As you can see, everything changes, and here you start getting islands that are actually probably being noise during the scanner. So you can adjust this using the slider, but also if you hold the control key and using the mouse wheel, it will change this sensitivity. As you can see, we have now some spots that will not be used in our algorithm. So for this reason, we have another tool which is called the manual freehand selection. Now, how it works, you just hold your left mouse button and then you paint on the screen. Everything underneath will be selected. But if I rotate, you may notice that it actually selected through the mesh, and this is not something that I want. For this reason, we have an option here which is called select through. You can turn on and off this from the main dialog bar, or you can right click and you can find this option in the context menu also. I will carry on to paint here and to improve my selection to get different areas. But what about if I want to unselect something? In order to do this, you need to hold the Alt key and then paint in the same way. So while holding the Alt key, everything which is marked will actually be unselected. In such a way, you can just mark the areas, select the areas that are needed for your primitive to be generated. There are also a couple of other tools for selection. One is the freehand, where you can just draw on the screen and it will just paint a line. For these two modes, and actually for the third one, which is actually a line, you can control the size of your brush. The size of your brush can be controlled using the control key again and using the mouse wheel. As you can see, it changes on the screen. And this will be my painting area. When it's small, I can just paint with this size. For these three modes, you can always use the control key and your mouse wheel to change the size of your brush. At any point, you can also use the other option, which is select by drawing a triangle. You just hold your left mouse button down, hold it, and then you lift your left mouse and everything underneath will be selected. Again, these tools are controlled whether to select through the mesh or not by using the last option. And in some cases, when you have mechanical parts, it might be quite interesting to use the circular selection. You select this mode, you hold your left mouse button, and as you can see, it draws a circle on the screen, and when you lift your mouse button, everything underneath will be selected. Of course, this applies also for Alt key, that everything will be unselected underneath. So in this way, you can carry on and select your areas for the primitive to be defined. At any point, you can press Ctrl Z to get back from your previous selection. Again, this is what we call it undo operation for the selection in this case. These are the main tools that will help you to mark and select the regions that will identify your primitive. But if you make an error or you want to start from scratch, you can just select the button which is deselect all of the triangles. Let's get back and do some selection here also. There are a couple of other tools that are quite interesting at the bottom level for the selection. The first one is the enlarge the currently selected areas. This is sometimes it's useful if you gently want to increase your selection. How it works, it just takes the selected triangles and selects the one which is next to it. And in this way, the selection will enlarge. Also, vice versa, you can do the opposite, which will shrink the selection and make it smaller. So when you get more advanced, you will be able to use this in your projects. If we have a big object, sometimes it's useful if you just load the object and there are many areas here where you want to focus. So one interesting tool that can be done is the following. I will just unselect everything. We'll use my rectangular selection. We'll make sure that this select through is on, and we'll select this area. So what I can do now is actually what is called isolate. This will leave only this selected part on the screen and everything else will be hidden. So as you can see, now I can focus in my area only to work in this specific area of the part. But let's carry on and I will just select this area. Now I want to do it a bit differently. I want to actually hide what I selected. So these are two different things. One is to isolate, to leave what I selected, and this is the next button is just to hide all these selected triangle. You can always zoom out the object and you can go in details here and you can mark your areas for the purposes that you need. Now, as you know how to make all this selection, you're ready to actually start extracting your primitives. And the last thing is when you have some areas hidden, you can always just go and show all the hidden triangles back on the screen. In our next couple of minutes, we'll learn how to actually use and extract primitives from our selection. I will bring now another part which has cone and sphere so you can understand about the way it works. I will just again go and extract primitives. Using the selection, I will just pick on the mesh and I see that everything that has been selected is my cone, and then I can press fit the cone. As you can see now, it's automatically extracted the cone and defined this cone. I will just hide temporarily the mesh so you can get an idea. Of course, you can always do the analysis and see the quality if everything is within the tolerance. And when you're happy, you can just press create and the cone will appear on the left hand side in the features tree. And to finish this presentation, I will just select this sphere, for example, we'll press best fit. There are some constraints for the sphere also because you may want to extract the sphere which is exactly at the center of a specific point and so on. We click the analysis and you immediately can see that this is really well fit through this mesh data, but there are some issues on the scan data itself which are caused by the physical objects or the scanning process. So this was the tutorial about how you can extract primitives. You can learn from the other tutorials how to edit these features later on and how you can construct the different primitives, use them into the alignment process or in the way for generating a new cut model from a scan data. Thank you for watching.